How's it going? My name is Jumpy. Today I'm going to talk about the 1973 Japanese movie Lady Snowblood. I first saw this one about 15 years ago. I watched it because I learned it was a big influence on Kill Bill, and I love Kill Bill. I'll briefly say that I watched Kill Bill the Whole Bloody Affair a few months ago. It's volumes 1 and 2 put together as one movie with a few changes, and it's 4 hours and 13 minutes long. It was always great before, and it's even better in this version. I didn't make a video because I already talked about Tarantino and Kill Bill in my Jackie Brown review, and I didn't want to repeat myself too much. But go check out The Whole Bloody Affair if you haven't seen it. Back to Lady Snowblood. It was directed by Toshiya Fujita. In 1873, there are 4 criminals that steal money from people by telling them it will get them out of the draft. There's an absurd rumor that there are evil conscription officers running around and that they wear white. A new family enters a town. The mother is named Sayo, and she has a husband and a young son. Her husband is a school teacher, and he happens to be dressed in white. So the 4 criminals kill him and the kid. They then rape and torture Sayo for 3 days. And one of them brings her to Tokyo where he opened a restaurant. Sayo kills him and gets arrested and sentenced to life in prison. After that, she sleeps with men with the hopes of getting pregnant and having another child who will grow up to kill the other 3 people who murdered her husband and son. And on a snowy night in 1874, she gives birth to baby Snowblood, aka Yuki. Yuki means snow in Japanese. Sayo passes away afterwards, and one of her fellow inmates, Otora, gets out and takes Yuki to be trained by a priest named Dokai. 20 years later, when she's an adult, Lady Snowblood is played by Meiko Kaji, and she continues seeking her mother's revenge and killing people that get in her way. This is an exploitation film through and through, with its violence and sex. But it's still artsy and really well made. The movie is broken up into chapters and uses a lot of flashbacks. If you've seen Kill Bill, it's interesting seeing the similarities between it and Lady Snowblood. Aside from chapters and flashbacks, another one is during the opening scenes of both movies. In Lady Snowblood, Sayo is in prison lying down and breathing heavily and covered in sweat. Tarantino recreated that shot in the opening scene of Kill Bill when the bride is on the ground. Yuki's quest for revenge isn't that straightforward either, and it takes a lot of turns that are fun to follow. Meiko Kaji is great in the role. I love her intense stares that she gives throughout the movie, and the camera just dwells on them. And I think she does well when she's doing normal interactions with other people, like pleading for help on finding her 3 remaining targets. She can also be sweet, and she's still human and feels remorse and sadness. She's a compelling character who was pushed into this awful situation. Yuki walks around with an umbrella, and it turns out that the handle is a sheath and her sword is inside. That's so fucking cool, and she uses the umbrella as a shield. She also has some stylish kimonos. There's one with stripes. It's blue and white, but in the darker lighting, when the blue looks black, it reminds me of Beetlejuice's suit. He may well be the ghost with the most, but she's the vengeance seeker whose style is even sleeker. The movie works pretty well dramatically. For example, it's sad when Sayo and her family are attacked, and it's sad when Yuki breaks up another family. But I just got really invested in following Yuki around. The action scenes are very entertaining. She jumps around and slashes through people, and there's a lot of fake-looking blood spraying everywhere in an unrealistic manner. It's great. One time that it gets really silly is during the training scenes when she's Kid Snowblood. One of the things she does is she gets in a barrel, and Dokai kicks the barrel down a hill. Her goal is to stay inside, but she hits some rocks and gets shot out of the barrel like she's a cannon into the air before crash landing on the ground. I know I'm not supposed to laugh at that, but it's so funny to me because of how the dummy looks. I'm sorry, Yuki. And there's another dummy later, but it's charming. The movie gives you some Japanese history. It's done with voiceover narration, and some of it is shown in drawings. And I love how they use these different methods to tell the story. Later on, Yuki meets a man named Ryurei. He's a newspaper publisher and novelist, and he tells her story to try to lure out one of her targets. Like they're the Chronicle trying to bait the Zodiac killer. I really enjoyed this aspect of the movie where they use the power of the press. And the movie shows illustrations again here too. In general, I love the way this movie is shot and edited. It makes pretty good use of its 2:3:5:1 image, like putting two characters on completely opposite sides of the frame. And some of the other composition stood out to me. There's a lot of weird angles and zooms. There's even a shot from inside the barrel as it rolls down the hill. The camera can be fluid, and sometimes it's smooth when it pans. It does get a little shaky when it moves around occasionally, and I had to look something up because I wanted to be sure. The movie was a couple years before Steadicam, so that explains it. These rough spots give it character, and I wouldn't really consider it a flaw. The editing can get chaotic with its rapid back and forth cuts, like once when Yuki sees one of her targets, or jump cuts when you see her brother was killed in a flashback. Visually, one of my favorite moments is when a curtain literally falls on the scene. Obviously, I love this movie, and I'm giving Lady Snowblood a 10 out of 10. I do like Kill Bill more, but I like Kill Bill more than most things, so that's not really saying much about Lady Snowblood's quality. I was on board the entire time. Fun action scenes, a great main character, a satisfying story with fun twists and nice visual touches. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go watch Lady Snowblood 2.